Section 50. Moreover, Mahamati, there are two kinds of knowing: knowing that examines and knowing that is based on attachment to the characteristics of projection. Mahamati, the knowing that examines focuses on the characteristics of self-existence of whatever exists and concludes that they are beyond the reach of the four possibilities and not graspable. This is what is meant by the knowing that examines. As for the four possibilities, Mahamati, this means to be beyond the reach of sameness, difference, both or neither, existence, non-existence or neither existence nor non-existence, permanence or impermanence. These are the four possibilities. Mahamati, everything that exists is beyond the reach of these four possibilities, and you should practice examining everything, Mahamati, according to them. Mahamati, what is the knowing that is based on attachment to the characteristics of projection? Attachment to the characteristics of projection refers to the attachment to the erroneous projection of solidity, moisture, warmth, and movement as characterizing the four elements, and attachment to proposition, reason, characteristics, and example as the foundation on which such falsehoods are based. This is what is meant by the knowing that is based on attachment to the characteristics of projection. This is what characterizes the two kinds of knowing. By mastering what characterizes these two kinds of knowing, bodhisattvas finally understand the absence of a self among persons and things and understand the means by which to use their projectionless knowing to examine the stages of practice. As they reach the initial stage, they enter hundreds of samadhis, and in certain of those samadhis, they see hundreds of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and events, hundreds of kalpas in the past and future. And in the light of hundreds of Buddha realms, they come to know the characteristics of the higher stages. And by virtue of their peerless vows and their masteries and higher powers, they reach the personal realization of the Tathagata stage, where their foreheads are anointed among Dharma clouds. And with their minds well focused on the 10 inexhaustible vows, they bring others to perfection and manifest themselves in a variety of refulgent forms while enjoying the bliss of samadhi and the personal realization of Buddha knowledge. Section 51. Moreover, Mahamati, bodhisattvas should become versed in the four elements and their elemental forms. And how should bodhisattvas become versed in the four elements and their elemental forms? Mahamati, bodhisattvas should know this, that in reality the four elements do not arise. They should thus examine the non-arising of the four elements. Once they have done so, they will know that the distinguishing of names, appearances, and projections is the distinguishing of perceptions of their own mind, and that their external existence does not exist. This is what is meant by distinguishing projections as perceptions of the mind. This means to see that the three realms are devoid of the existence of the four elements and their elemental forms, that they are completely devoid of the four possibilities, and that they include no self or anything that belongs to a self, and to focus instead on the essential characteristics of reality, the essential characteristic of which consists in non-arising. Mahamati, how do the four elements give rise to elemental forms? The element distinguished as moisture produces internal and external realms of water. The element distinguished as energy produces internal and external realms of fire. The element distinguished as movement produces internal and external realms of wind. And the element distinguished as divisible form produces internal and external realms of earth. And with form comes space. According to those who cling to mistaken truths, it is the four elements and their elemental forms that give rise to the assemblage of the five skandhas. Mahamati, consciousness continues in another existence because of the delight for different realms. As for earth and the other elements and their elemental forms, Mahamati, the four elements serve as its conditions. and the four elements do not serve as its conditions. And how so? The elements do not arise unless nature, shape, location, and functions exist. But even if they do arise together with nature, shape, location, and function, Mahamate, they do not do so with regard to what is formless. Therefore, the four elements and their elemental forms are projections of other paths, and not mine.